time. And the angels, Allah has created this order. Allah does not need angels, but this is part of the sunnah of creation, that there's angels, and they're all over. When people come together for the sake of Allah, the angels, there's angels that are sayyara. They're literally, they travel around the earth, and just as we see the lights of heaven, they see the lights of dhikr. So just like we see stars, they see the places where there's dhikr, and they will go to those places. And that's why you feel a sakina when you're in places where there's dhikr. People feel a sakina. The Prophet ﷺ told us, the Quran says that we have mu'aqibat. There's these the ones that yahfudunana. They protect us. So the hafadha are angels that protect us, unless the qadr comes, and then they have to withhold it. But I know all of you have probably been in situations where you were about to get into an accident, and then something happened, and your attention was drawn. And I once fell asleep driving when I was 17. I was driving a car, and it was very late at night, and I fell asleep, and I got yanked out of sleep, and I was literally headed right for a telephone pole, and I just missed it. But that's angelic. When it's not meant to happen, the angel will divert you from that harm. And that's why it's important also never to get upset about missing a flight. Like the Egyptian man in Abu Dhabi, he got really angry, he was screaming at them and everything, and then that flight crashed, a few years back. They interviewed him. He said, astaghfirullah, like, turned out to be a rahmah for him. Yeah. So, but yeah, you shouldn't worry about those things. So that these mutalaqiyani an al-yamin wa an al-shimali qa'id. So he says, Imam Ibn Juzay al-Kalbi says, muqa'id bima'na mujalis, like he's sitting with you, yujalisuka. In other words, he's always there with you. And these are the two angels. The one on the right is the Amir of the one on the left. But there are other angels. There's a hadith that Imam Tabari relates, and it's definitely, it's a good hadith, but it's mentioned a lot. And I don't think it's not in any of the major collections, but Uthman radiallahu anhu asked the Prophet ﷺ how many angels there were. And Uthman radiallahu, and the Prophet ﷺ told him in this hadith that there were 10 angels in the day and 10 in the night. They yatanawabun, so they change at Fajr, at Subh, and then at Asr. And so the ones that are obviously in prayer, they're very fortunate because that's what they leave with, their assignment. But the Prophet ﷺ in that tradition says that you have the two that are there, and then you have those on your sides, two on your sides, and then one in the front, one in the back, and then you have one that has your nasiya spiritually, and if you get arrogant, it yanks it down, and if you get humble, it elevates it, pulls it up. من تواضع لله رفعه الله, and then ومن تكبر قصمه. So and then there's the two on the tongue that, according to this tradition, says they're only there to record salah ala nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So anybody that says prayer on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, darud sharif, those angels are there just for that. And then there's an angel that literally protects your mouth from things that are harmful to go in it, because these are open orifices. And there's, we have Jibreel, we have all these amazing, Mikael, who's in charge of all the rain and everything, and the nabat, things that come forward. Jibreel is responsible for revelation. We have the angel of the mountains. We have the angel of death, right? قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ. So you have the angel of death, that some say his name is Azrael. It's in the Athar, and it's all the Mufassirun definitely mention him by name. but there's no hadith that give that name. And then also you have the muqarrabun and the kurubiyun also, which are the cherubim in the Western tradition. The angels of solace. I mean, yeah, it's a whole world that's around us. And then obviously corresponding to that is the demonic world. So there's all the negative forces that are there also. And then Zabaniya, you have Malik, Radwan, you have the Malik is the Khazan of the fire, Radwan is the Khazan of paradise, and then the Zabaniya, alayha tis'ata ashar, there's 19 of these in hell. ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. So nothing is uttered out of your mouth except there is a raqib, in other words, somebody who's monitoring it, and atid, ready to write it down. So anything that you say, and it's really important for people to think about this because we're in an age of talking. I mean, I don't think humans have ever talked more than they talk today. And just something to think about. When you write something on the internet, you can't get that back. Some of them you can delete. People delete tweets and things, but they're not deleted with the angels. Especially when it's about other people, because then it's the haqq of somebody else. And there's the qantara for Muslims. Like the qantara is going to be a problem. Because the qantara, you can't get into paradise until you settle things with other Muslims. So you make it across the sirat, there's another stage, which is the qantara. For anybody you wronged, they have a right at that point to demand from you. So, but people just don't think about this. They just, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ. There's not a word uttered that it's not being recorded. And now we know all these recordings, all our phone calls are recorded. I mean, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. We're going to show them our signs. I mean, look at all the recording that's going on. Hidden conversations. There's people now that get people in these gotcha situations, and they record them, and then they put it up on the internet. You know, the Prophet said, al-majalis bil-amanat. Like, private conversations are sacred trusts. The Prophet ﷺ said if a man ever, before he says something, he looks around, it's amana. Like, but they also say don't blame somebody for, if you tell somebody a secret, don't blame them for telling somebody else, because they say the same thing that pulled it out of your chest, pulled it out of theirs. That's why they say Sudur al-ahrar, qubur al-ahrar. That the breasts of free people are the graveyards of secrets. Like, because it's people that spread other people's secrets and tell. I mean, everything's going to be revealed on the Yawm al-Qiyamah. But sitr is also very important. Our religion, you know, and this is a very fine line. I recognize this especially today because there's certain things. But one of the things that people do is they love to put this all up on the internet. Local problems should be local problems. The Muslim community, they take a local problem. Some imam does something, scandalous thing in some, town in whatever, someplace, and suddenly it's all over the internet. Like, these are fitna people. They're spreading fitna. Let the local community deal with that. If the person is a prominent person, there might be some need, but generally these are local problems. The idea of just spreading all this fitna it's really not good. And it makes people, scandal is when scandal happens, it just has a horrible impact on the community. And a lot of these problems are problems of just not following Sharia. They're just not following Sharia. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ told us, don't be alone with somebody who's not a mahram. So any woman should never, if some quote unquote spiritual teachers saying, oh, I'll give you private lessons. Red flag, the Dajjal, because it's just not in our religion. And that's what protects people, both people. Because if you're alone, you're with Iblis. He's the third. So, and then people also, even just seeing people, like the Prophet ﷺ, he was with Maymuna, and it was nighttime, and he was walking, and they saw the Prophet ﷺ said, "Innaha Maymuna." He told them, it's my wife. And they said, "Anattahimuka ya Rasul, would we ever suspect you?" And he said, "Inna shaitan yajri fi ibni Adam majra dam." Shaitan flows in the veins like so even the best people can get that doubt, right? So but there's just a lot of, the internet has created such a horrible environment for people. It's just really unhealthy. And then all these people that just attack other people, like recently, because I was talking with Sheikh Abdullah and there was a big fitna with one scholar who said something, and then all these other scholars jump in. If this is the scholars talking like that, then what about the poor people just who aren't, if they see the quote unquote ulama attacking one another, Allah says, "La tanabazu bil alqab." Don't call one another names. The Prophet said, "Ma baru aqwam." What's up with a people that do this? So ghiba is very dangerous. And ghiba is, dhikruka akhaka bima yakrahu. It's to mention your brother with something that they would be disturbed. And then one of the Sahaba said, "When kana fihi ya Rasulullah," and like even if it's true, like he was, because this is human, right? People like to talk about other people. It's a very common thing. And Ahmad Zarruq said that the bab of ghiba is opened by how's so-and-so. Because some people ask that because they want to hear dirt, right? That's why they ask, oh, how's so-and-so? Amazing. Nothing changes. Humans. So that's something really to think about.